When a good employee hands in their notice, for a small business, it's a gut punch, and most managers reach for a pay rise. But that instinct is almost always wrong, and here's what's actually driving them away. The short answer here is that it's rarely the money. Pay can be the presenting complaint, but it's usually a symptom of something different. According to SHRM research, employees leave primarily because of toxic work environments, poor leadership, and dissatisfaction with a manager. Salary comes up, of course, but it tends to mask a structural failure. A high performer who feels stretched, valued, and moving forward rarely leaves for a pay bump somewhere else. The ones who go are usually already disengaged before they even ever look at a job board. The resignation letter is the last event in a much longer story. And if you only respond to the letter, well, you've already missed the point. The real question is what conditions inside the role and their team pushed them to that decision. SHRM is pretty direct on this. Managers are responsible for how work is designed, and employees quit because of unenjoyable work, lack of growth, and misalignment with their strengths. 3 conditions almost always manager created. Firstly, work mismatched to strengths. When a high performer spends most of their day on tasks that don't use what they're good at, motivation is quietly eroding. They disengage and start looking around. Second, no visible path forward. If someone can't see how they will grow, they will find somewhere where they can. It's not about grand promotion promises, it's about whether the next step is even visible at all. And third, an eroding day-to-day environment. Things like micromanagement, lack of recognition, being cut out of decisions that affect their work. These things accumulate. No single incident breaks a good employee, but the pattern does. So the common thread here is that the manager, not HR, not the pay band. The direct relationship is where retention is won or lost. Most exit interviews are useless. They happen too late, feel like a formality, and ask completely the wrong questions. The employee sits there and says something polite about their career development, and everyone moves on, and it tells you nothing. A useful exit interview is a structured diagnostic, not some nice farewell chat. The goal here is to understand which of those 3 conditions applied and how far back the problem started. So here are some good exit interview questions. What part of the role stopped feeling worth it? Was there a moment you started thinking about leaving? Did you feel your strengths were being used? And what would have needed to change for you to stay? Notice what's not on that list. Compensation. Open with pay and you will get a pay answer, which closes the conversation before it started. There are 2 process points here. First, do not conduct it yourself if you were the direct manager. The employee will not be candid with the person they are leaving. Use someone neutral. Second, give it a few days after the notice is handed in. Employees are still processing. Let the emotional heat settle before any formal conversation. When a valued person resigns, resist the counter-offer reflex. Before anything else, schedule that structured exit conversation. Ask about role fit, growth visibility, and the day-to-day environment. Listen for patterns, not just grievances. If the root cause is something you created, it's something you can fix, but only if you diagnose it before the door closes. The same conditions that pushed this person out are still in place for whoever sits in that seat. Get the diagnosis right and you stop the pattern, skip it, and you will be having this conversation again in 6 to 12 months. If this was of value, subscribe to the channel for one real business question answered every video. For the same clarity in writing, the website and newsletter is 5minutebusiness.com.